Good morning everyone. I hope you're having a great weekend so far. I wanted to start this series on book reviews on Saturdays because that's when a lot of us look forward to unwinding and relaxing. It's also when a lot of us choose to either read or watch TV. Well, since this is a book review playlist, I'm not going to be talking about television. That might be another playlist in the future. But this week I want to start off with my first book review. And surprise, surprise, surprise. It really is a surprise. It's going to be a fiction book. Like I said in the introduction to the series, I don't read a lot of fiction. But last year, I attended a writers conference, and at the conference there's a bookstore where we could buy books. Some of the authors are actually at the conference. Some of them were discovered at this conference. And while I was in the back in the bookstore, I was looking around. I wanted to get a diversity of books. I had picked out a couple of non-fiction books I wanted to read, had them. But just to spice things up, I wanted to get at least one non-fiction book. And I've done this for a few years. So last year I purchased this book, and I'm going to give it to you. Whoops, disappeared. Can't do that. It is Life Flight by Lynette Easton. Of course, as you can tell by the cover, there's a helicopter somewhere, if I get past her, right there. And it's, what really got me is that it was set in the South. It was actually set in the area where I was at this conference, so of course that caught my attention. And the other thing that caught my attention is that it is a romantic suspense fiction book. And if you know me, you know I'm a helpless romantic, so why not get a fiction book with a little romance in it? So that's when I got this book. And I'll go ahead and start off by telling you the first thing that caught my attention as I was reading is how quickly Lynette hooked me. I mean, every good story needs conflict. And if you don't know anything about writing, there's something called the inciting incident. And within the first chapter, the inciting incident occurred. But what shocked me is I thought earlier on in the book that the conflict was resolved. I thought that the bad guy had been caught and taken care of. I don't want to give away too much and spoil the book for you, but I was happily surprised to know that the conflict didn't end earlier in the book. In fact, that inciting incident what set the dominoes in place throughout the book, as the main character, Penny Cartwell, a helicopter pilot, had to navigate not only flying a helicopter, a serial killer, and her own feelings for love, and her own family, how should I say, indiscrepancies. So all of these elements play together for a very interesting book to keep my attention. And if you can keep my attention with my brain injury from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, and this is another reason why I don't read a lot of fiction books, I think it's like 300 plus pages, yes, around 350 pages. Now this book is actually I think it's book number 2 in this series. The good thing about getting this book is you don't have to have read the first book to know this book. I mean, she does a great job of introducing introducing the characters, setting up the story, setting up the conflict, and keeping my attention all the way to the end of the book. I'm actually looking forward to getting the next book in this series and reading it. So again, this book review is on Life Flight by Lynette Eason. So if you get a chance, and of course this is the paper copy. I highly recommend it to you. Get it if you want a good book to escape on a weekend or during the week and read. And the good thing about it, it is a Christian romance suspense book. So there's not a lot of, there's no sex, and there's some tension in there, I will say that, but there's not, and it's not really graphic, so it's kind of clean suspense. So again, Lynette gets 2 thumbs up for this book. If you like the shows kind of like CSI, or if you like the TV shows Chicago, whatever the medical show is out of Chicago, all these TV shows, Life Flight deals with the FBI, as you saw in the intro. The FBI is involved with it, and then there's a medical helicopter, so you get the crime scene aspect with the FBI, and you get the medical like the Grey's Anatomy and the Brooklyn 911 medical rescue aspect with the helicopter aspect. So all twined together with spiritual undertones, and Lynette does a great job with not beating you over the head with the Bible. So if you're worried about getting beat over the head with the Bible, don't worry about that. There are lots of Christian and spiritual disciplines in the book, but Lynette does a great job as intertwining them with the narrative and not making them a sermon. So I highly recommend this book if you haven't read it. And Lynette, if you see this, know you did a great job. From somebody who doesn't read a lot of fiction, you hooked me. Good job, and that's this month's video. Buy a book and enjoy the weekend. Until next time, everybody, goodbye. Stop making the noise, please.
Be very quiet.